I've decided to embrace my fate as a mediocre Nintendo YouTuber, and what better time period to find inspiration from than the glory days of the 2010s, where the topic of Mario ranking videos reigned supreme, followed only by top 10 hottest Nintendo girls. I've decided to pause production for my own take on that video, to instead rank all 121 stars in Super Mario Galaxy from worst to best. Some clarification first, ranking 121 anything is hard enough, let alone fully fleshed out video game levels. So if you're upset with the placement, just know for the next 10 years I'll probably be waking up at 3 AM and think, man, I did Bubble Blast off dirty. So let's jump right into what I think is the worst star in the game. Hey Beef Boss, what do you think about Dusty Dune's purple coin star? Yeah, me too, buddy. Last place is purple coins in the desert. Holy moly, I hate this star so much. It seems simple. Grab 100 coins, spread around the level for the star to show up. It looks like this is such a small area, but it feels like it takes a decade to traverse. And you can't play risky because unlike lava where you can recover if you fall, quicksand is instant death, meaning there are choke points everywhere. And if you lose in Prankster Comet stars, you restart from the very beginning. They couldn't even have the purple comet music playing either. And it doesn't help Dusty Dune's theme is probably my least favorite area track into the game. Let it be known, this star is far from difficult, but everything just feels like a complete slog. Purple coins by the seaside. This one is even more tedious than the last, but has some things going for it. It's pretty hard to die. At worst, you might fall in the water and lose your bee mushroom, which is really annoying to get back, but that is the price I am willing to pay for a significantly less stressful level. Also, Beach Bowl Galaxy's music is so much better than Dusty Dune, which helps considering you're gonna be here for what's really 10 minutes but feels like an eternity. I don't mind the bee mushroom, but this is not an environment it was designed for. Thankfully, from here on out, the next chunk of stars will start ranging from inoffensive to just okay, which really goes to show how solid Galaxy's overall level design is. Luigi on the roof. I cannot call this a good star, but it is admittedly kinda cute. The intended path for this one is going through the pipes on the bottom of the planet up to the top of the house, but I think nearly everyone has simply done a triple jump up there, which makes an already short star the shortest in the game. Luigi under the saucer. Might be an unpopular opinion, but I really don't care for Battle Rock's green star. Even some of the more basic Prankster Comets at least try to change something. Whether it be the environment, enemies, or music, this star is just 99% the same as the first star in this galaxy. It isn't actively bad, and I could never hate on my pal Luigi. Oh, yeah. But other than his dialogue and the memory of seeing a different colored star for the first time, I'm not a fan of replaying this one. Passing the swim test. This star is a pretty decent opening to it. You talk to the big penguin and then jump in the water to find the golden shell. Then bring it back to him, which causes a launch star to appear, and then the actual level starts. Wait, why is he giving me the power star? It must be a glitch? Underwater Cosmic Mario Race. This is a race against, you guessed it, Cosmic Mario, which sounds cool. But not only is it super short, even for the more difficult Luigi variant, there's not really any opportunities to outplay him both in and out of the water. Just grab a shell, swim through the rings, and hold forward towards the star. Not the worst, but probably the most boring 60 seconds in all of Galaxy. The Star Festival. I seriously disagree when people claim this to be the worst star in the game. It's not as miserable as those purple comets, and offers more unique stuff to see than the last few stars I mentioned. First of all, from a glance, holy crap, from a glance it looked like Galaxy was following the 3D series tradition of having 120 main collectibles. But once you find 120 stars as Mario and then again as Luigi, you gain access to unlock the 121st in the game. As for the level itself, the gameplay is nothing special, but just the atmosphere of it all and getting to experience the Star Festival without any of the, you know, all the friendly species you meet throughout the game are here. Even Billboard shows up. The Toad Brigade gets promoted to Royal Guards, and you receive a thank you letter from the Galaxy developers, and of course those special screenshots sent directly to your system. I don't know, man. I can get why people were expecting something with a little more gameplay, but having the final star take place where the game all started is such an awesome full circle moment. Plunder the purple coins. I think exploring the pirate ship is neat and the Toad dialogue is endearing, but some of those coins are placed in pretty annoying spots. Don't have anything else to say about this one as overall it's quite basic. Purple coin spacewalk. The weakest of the timed purple comet missions. All the coins are in groups of 10 which are satisfying to grab at once. However, unlike the original star that took place here, the verticality has been totally removed, so it's quite easy to just long jump to all the correct spots. That combined with the timer being kinda generous makes me think this one is just alright. Shrinking satellite. Solid introduction to the shrinking platform mechanic, and yes, it is always fun to try and make them all disappear before letting gravity do its thing, painting the planet yellow. A very nice challenge course involving flip switches and gravity shenanigans. I like the NES Mario background, but once again, this star is just okay. Hurry, he's hungry. Why is it called that? What does that mean? I mean, the Luma is hungry, but for that you have all the time you need. And you do gotta hurry on the shrinking platform planet, so is the black hole supposed to be the dude who's hungry? I'm probably looking too deep into this. A slightly harder version of shrinking satellite that's a little bit higher because there's a little more effort to get there. Not to mention you get to use a cannon instead of the usual pink launch star, which is a decent highlight of this one. Dreadnought's garbage dump. Blow up all the garbage piles with bombs before the timer runs out. When it comes to both how you get there and what you do there, this is a less interesting and less difficult version of another star we'll get to later. So instead I'll use this time to ask, does anyone else see the Guillermos as like really nice old grandmas? I don't know. That's how I always saw them as a kid. I just know they'd make some bomb chocolate chip cookies. Honey Hive Cosmic Luigi Race. The first showdown against Cosmic Luigi, and it's not too bad. Still better than the one in Sea Slide. Earliest example in the game where doing fancy jumps is essential to win, and the course layout is good enough. Luigi in the Honey Hive Kingdom. This one gets major bonus points for not only being active in all 3 main stars, but each has a different method of getting to him. Star 1 has you using the bee mushroom, 2 has the vine under the rock, and 3 has you catching a ride inside a bubble. If not for that, this would be lower on the list, but I honestly thought that was super neat. Guppy and the Underground Lake. The atmosphere of this is pretty sweet, swimming down to the very bottom of this creepy, off-putting planet. Then you meet this dude that always creeped me out as a kid. Can you blame me? Just look at him. After you chat with him, he shows you what you gotta do for the star. And what do? Well, you swim through rings. I mean, no, it's fine. I just didn't expect in a place this creepy from a dude this creepy for the objective to be swimming through rings. The obstacles are fun enough though, so it's not too bad, but not very standout either. Going after Guppy. Oh great, it's this guy again. This time he's being a bum to the local penguins, and to get him to play nice, you gotta swim through rings? Seriously? I was scared of a dude that asked me to swim through rings? This is honestly interchangeable with the last star since you basically do the same thing. Just comes down to if you prefer a more lengthy course layout or a more mysterious atmosphere. Ghost Ship Daredevil Run. It gets points for a neat setting, and it's somewhat challenging, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Camilla boss fight, and this is basically the entire star, so here we are. Top Maniac's Daredevil Run. I said I'm not a fan of Camilla, and that's just because there's too much waiting involved. Here it's the exact opposite. Top Maniac gets no chances to fight back, and it's over in mere seconds. Major Burrow's Daredevil Run. I should probably explain why I have all these grouped together. I don't mind the more simplistic boss fights in Galaxy, since they're usually used as a way to wrap up a level whose mechanics you spent the last few minutes engaging with. Without that part, even with the added challenge of the Daredevil Comet, these relatively easy boss fights feel like they're missing something, because they are. And because of that, an entire star dedicated solely to refining them just isn't that thrilling to me, with one huge exception we'll get to much later. The Secret of Boy Base. It breaks my heart to place this one so low, cause finding it for the first time was super memorable. Being located on the underside of this body of water is pretty neat. And that's pretty much all that's neat about it. You lead a torpedo to break a cage, you lead a bullet bill to break a cage, and yeah. That's the star. I mean, what else am I supposed to say, man? It's not even that well hidden or anything. I don't dislike this star, but every time I get to it, I'm bummed out they didn't do more. King Caliente's Spicy Return. Starting off with a pretty out-of-place planet where you do the free the launch star with a bullet bill thing. The next introduces the new mechanic of these hexagon platforms that sink into lava when stood on, along with the returning mechanic of whacking coconuts back at whatever those things are. The visuals of this galaxy are really sick. The lava contrasting with the pitch black background that's broken up by that singular blinding star. Oh, it's so cool. Then Bowser Jr. shows up and says this calls for his ultimate weapon, a boss from the first main galaxy of the game. Now in fairness, it's not impossible to upgrade an early game boss into a genuine challenge, even from Good A Galaxy, but this is not a case of that. Decent boss fight, most underwhelming grand star of all time. Camella's Airship Attack. I initially had this ranked higher, but actually thinking about it, this star is really boring. Gameplay's not bad, but man, nothing really happens here. It just kinda serves as a tutorial for how shells work. It's super carried by the fact it takes place on airships, alongside the airship music playing as well. Then the boss fight is Camilla, which I've already said I'm not a fan of. The secret starbit room is cool. I'll give it that. Top Man Tribe Speedrun. Insanely generous timer, and I just don't like the music used as much as Revenge of the Top Man Tribe. I think every part of this star is just okay. Freeing the Luma is just okay, finding the star chips is just okay. The Pulsar section, yeah, you get the idea. The most standout part is this really long platform, and even then I think it's just okay. We then have a rematch with Top Maniac, and you'll never guess what I think this boss fight is. The Flip Switch Chain. The first 2 planets feel pretty uneventful, but after the Hungry every Luma, you're sent over to this chain of planets full of flip switches and these guys. They roll right on top of the panels you're supposed to press, and you do not want to be caught on their bad side. However, you can slip under the safe opening they have and wait for them to proceed. I don't think it's a stretch to say Tox boxes are some of the most equally memorable and horrifying enemies in this whole series. Mario meets Mario. Similar to the flip switch chain, the first two planets really don't have that much going for them. But of course, the star of the show here is the 8-bit Mario, built out of lava, shrinking tiles, and these new spinning ones. You gotta walk all over him to fetch 5 silver stars, which makes for an alright challenge. Gateway's purple coins. This is where I'm going to fully admit this star should have most likely been placed lower, but my bias just will not allow it! When you unlock access to this planet in the Comet Observatory and walk inside this familiar house, suddenly, you're back at where you first meet Rosalina. The objective here is to collect 100 coins, but with the main power of being Flying Mario, and dude, this color scheme is so awesome. Not even just for Mario, but Linguini too. Oh, yeah. The biggest criticism this power-up gets is that it just isn't used. Outside of here, its only other appearance is the Comet Observatory. I understand and agree with that sentiment, but at the same time, it kind of adds this mythical feel to it. Like you're almost not supposed to have access to this at all, but the 2 moments you do are the exception to the rule for this ultimate power. Oh yeah, and the one and only red star is pretty swag too. It's just all the little things that really make this one so high on the ranking for myself. The Honey Hive's purple coins. This is one of the better exploration style stars, but it's held back by a few things. There are some coins that collecting makes you go all the way back around the level to collect another batch. This is something I like to refer to as annoying. And the other is this colossal choke point right here. This place was designed for the bee mushroom, but it's totally absent from this star for whatever reason. Without it, if you get stuck in the honey and make a bad jump, you can say goodbye to all your progress. This once happened to me when I was at 95 coins, and to this day, I vividly remember how miserable of a feeling that was. From now on, I make sure to go to that area first to prevent any further catastrophes from happening in this star. And now's the part where I bring up that Sea Slide and Honey Hive's purple comets would have been significantly more enjoyable if they had stuck to their original mechanics. It would have been better to shell swim around the Sea Slide instead of flying, and Honey Hive with the power of flight would have been less repetitive and stressful all around. Not sure what they were thinking here. Faster than a speeding penguin. I find this more fun than going after Guppy, because not only is it possible to actually lose, but you get to swim around the Sea Slide in whatever way you'd like this time. Battle Rock Barrage. Most of the level consists of riding on this UFO, where there's hazards on both the top and bottom you need to survive until the end. You can do so by constantly switching sides, or pulling off some gnarly jumps. And it all wraps up with a lead the bull bill to free the power star thing. Scaling the sticky wall. The star feels like the developers were like, it's been a while since Honey Hive. We should probably remind the player B Mario is the defining power-up for this game. Decent challenge, though I feel the difficulty progression is a little off, cause the meteor part is way tougher than the ending with the Mandibugs. Though I can't be too hard on this star, not because of the gameplay or anything like that, but because without it, we would have never been blessed with this legendary Tobey Maguire edit. Giant eel outbreak. The cute penguins don't want to swim in the water, and I don't blame them if these things are in there. So, yeah, kill them all. Also, apparently this enemy from Galaxy 2 isn't from Galaxy 2. It first shows up in this game, in this specific galaxy only, hidden in 2 treasure chests only. I didn't know about this for years, and when I found it in my most recent playthrough, it actually freaked me out. The penguin dialogue is really nice, and I always take time to chat with them both before and after getting rid of the eels. Yoshi's unexpected appearance. Similar to how people thought that Luigi was in Mario 64, I used to be dead convinced this was some hint at the real Yoshi being somewhere in Galaxy 1. Also, the game will count how many Goombas you stomp in a row on this Yoshi planet specifically. They actually fleshed out what used to be this one-off mechanic in the sequel. Wait a minute, this entire star is just an overly elaborate advertisement for Galaxy 2! Greed-tendo at it yet again. Sunken treasure. Collect 5 sparklies, as the big penguin calls them. They're all underwater, and it's a great environment for new players to learn the swimming controls. After building it, launch Star to the upper level for some basic platforming to break open the ultimate sparkly. Big Mouth's gold bait. The star is right next to where you land. You just gotta find the key to unlock it. In this case, it's the golden shell, which you need to assemble a sling star to reach. Did you know you can just wall jump up to the higher level? Yes! Everyone knows! And if you didn't, well, now you do. Also big fan of when you open the chest, the deep dark music stops, and instead the dinky Captain Toad music plays. Trouble on the Tower. This level is all about ground pounding. You gotta use it to break rocks, push buttons, defeat enemies, including the boss. Speaking of, there's almost a certain charm to how pathetic these guys are. Doesn't even get an intro cutscene or anything. The underground ghost ship. Deep Dark is just such a weird galaxy. There's the beach where the toads are chilling out, but at the same time the music is unnerving, the color of the sky is ominous, and off in the distance is this deflatable mini version of the Gateway Galaxy planet? Like, what's up with that? Once past the gate, there's machinery for some reason, before delving underwater, where you'll uncover the ghost ship. This is such a memorable level. Now all it needs is a good boss fight to wrap it up and... oh, it's Camilla. At least the arena where you battle her is pretty neat. Doesn't make the waiting around any more fun. Through the Poison Swamp. I don't think this level is outstanding, but do think it gets too much hate. The only way I can see someone truly struggling with the bubble mechanic is if you're super impatient or have gameplay like mine. Even though the level makes you wait around for no real reason at times, I do appreciate the harder alternate route you can take. B. Luigi takes flight. This level has a decent amount of stuff packed into it. You get acquainted with the worker bees, find the first major power-up, help out the queen of this highly questionable starship collecting, and are even introduced to the Toad Brigade. Overall, this is a fantastic tutorial for newcomers to discover what the bee mushroom can and cannot do. Not to mention the gameplay itself is enjoyable on top of that. Purple coins on the battle rock. I love how the auto-scrolling part of this one lets the purple comet theme finish right as you reach the end. Pretty satisfying. Traversing the underside of the UFO and jumping over the electric walls is also pretty fun. Just an overall pretty good level. Burning Tide. I'm not gonna lie. I think collecting the star bits is more exciting than the actual secret planet itself. Grabbing silver stars while avoiding the rising lava is still alright though. It's like playing red light green light, except when I was in range of tagging the leader, I tripped on my shoelaces like a moron. Grand Star Rescue. For being the tutorial level of the game, I'm surprised how good it is still in spite of that. The contrast of how peaceful Gateway Galaxy feels is super impactful, in comparison to the intense orchestra blaring during the opening. You've got the iconic bunny chase, meeting Rosalina, and collecting starships for the first time. There's even an exclusive mechanic, here of all places. Spinning into these antennae creates a shockwave, knocking over nearby enemies, and then, of course, you'll recover the first Grand Star of the game. And without that, Mario would have never been able to help out my first video game crush. No, not you. Now that's better. Big Bad Bugaboom. This level is pretty much just a glorified boss fight. Luckily, it's a solid one, as he's basically the culmination of all the mechanics you learned from the previous 2 stars in Honey Hive, and the difficulty progression is good too. He takes flight and tilts sideways on occasion to make players reconsider their ground pound timing. I've seen some claims this fight is better in Galaxy 2, but I can't say I agree, as the Cloud Flower totally trivializes this guy. I much prefer it in this game. Cosmic Mario Forest Race. Having a good obstacle course for these Cosmic Race stars is crucial. Because Cosmic Mario is your equal, it's important for the level to provide opportunities to outplay him. Thankfully, there are a bunch of places here for you to triple jump, long jump, and all that fancy stuff. I do get they probably wanted to save it for the Purple Comet, but I do wish this race went all the way up the observation deck. Star Bunnies in the Snow. The snow moving when you point at it is such a quaint little mechanic. You use the cursor to find the Fire Flower, and the Fire Flower to find a shell, and then all 3 of these are used to find the hiding spots of the bunnies. Good stuff. The Secret Undersea Cavern. It's not very secret, and you barely spend any time in the cavern. It's really just a passageway that sends you to the Cyclone Stone, which is an area that, despite originating from this game, is one I'll always associate with Galaxy 2. If you know, you know. It's a nice challenge course, not the toughest, but being filled with insta-death obstacles leaves little room for error. When it rains, it pours. The rain clouds are quite the interesting obstacle, since they harm B Mario while he's underneath them, but also double as platforms to help him out. And the boss is one of the few instances in this game where having a power-up isn't mandatory but does offer an advantage. Keeping the bee mushroom makes the mole dude a pushover, but losing it makes him slightly less of a pushover. Surfing 101. Hey! This is Penguin Paradise. Well, that's not what the overview said. Since this is the introduction to the Ray Surfing minigame, they had to make the course a little basic. It does look cool though. The way the stream of water floats with the light blue background really stood out to me. I do think it's a little funny how many people say they struggle with this one. You guys know you can just let go of the A button, right? Also, the music is absolutely hilarious. Frosty Cosmic Mario Race. This is the best one, and it's like 30 seconds long. Even in the Luigi variant, as long as you're skating and taking moderate shortcuts, you'll be fine. The Cosmic Races are a nice break from the standard levels, but nothing more than that. Choosing a favorite snack. Oh, nice. A star where you get to choose whether you want to use the bee or boo mushroom. Each one offers a different way to traverse the level with different weaknesses, and it's already over. Wait, what? I mean, such a cool idea. Why does it last for only 40 seconds? Running along the rings with the rainbow star is fun and all, but I don't want the rainbow star. I want my favorite snack. You actually can do that, kind of. Bee Mario does just fine, but if you make it here as Boo Mario, it'll wear off because the light from the moon is too bright, which is admittedly a really cool detail that I personally think got placed in the wrong level. Gusty Gardens Gravity Scramble. I personally would have called this Gusty Gardens Gravity Shenanigans. I mean, look how much better of a title that is, it's not even funny. Nintendo just letting you know my work email is linked on my channel page. Anyways, this star is decent enough. The standout part being changing the gravity and falling to the other planets, which I really love the look of for some reason. Kinda reminds me of Mario 64-bit. Strange way to end off the galaxy themed around nature stuff though. Treasure of the Pyramid. The best of the 3 green stars, but even then has some problems. The Hungry Luma would have been a cool secret if this launch star didn't directly give away its location. And as for feeding it, 20 star bits? That's like pocket change, and for a green star of all things. Inside the pyramid is quite cool though, needing to raise and lower the sand while searching for silver stars on the wall. I do wish things moved faster, both to speed things up and up the challenge. But regardless, this is the most creative rendition of a pyramid level I've seen in a game. Luigi in the Haunted Mansion. Level so good, they made an entire 3DS game out of it. Boo Mario gets introduced here, and while the power-up itself doesn't get too much usage, earlier the level teaches you the weakness of boos or light, which is required to know in order to finish the level. So I suppose you could say that portion is an extension of the introduction to the boo mushroom before even getting to use it. It's such a small thing, but one of my favorite instances of Mario's game design subtly teaching you rather than a bunch of text boxes. Also, holy moly, Luigi's in this game. The box art didn't show him, so as a wee lad with no internet access, I was super excited to find out he was in fact here. Infiltrating the Dreadnought. The strange eyeball lasers aside, this level is all over the place. There's the 2D section, followed by the climb, then finish off with this water portion where the eye lasers are now used as platforms. Also, dude, this might be the most embarrassing death I'll ever experience in this series. I retired from Smash Bros. So I wouldn't have to deal with stuff like this, man. Blasting through the sand. I'm not exactly into the ending area for this star. At least 10% of that is thanks to the purple comet. But halfway through the level is my favorite star chip collecting sequence in the game. Look how fun the sand can be when it's not killing you. Whee! Sandblast Speedrun. The time limit isn't strict enough and there are overall fewer enemies, but I just like the music better in this one. Purple Coin Omelette. A lovely introduction to the purple coins, which are pathed out nicely for the player, except for those last 10 that always give me trouble on which launch star to take. Also, returning to Good at Galaxy after clearing the game is quite swell, if I do say so myself. Matter Splatter Mansion. The main one visited in Ghostly Galaxy was already great, but this truly feels like an otherworldly mansion in the depths of space. You can only interact with the terrain if it's currently visible, and when that starts moving, you need to make sure to neither jump early or fall behind. You gotta wonder if what's visible is only what's being shown, or if that's all that remains of this mansion. Or maybe all that it ever was. Soaring on the Desert Winds. Dusty Dune is such a funny galaxy because every time I get to it I'm like, ugh, it's this place. But when I finish some of the stars I'm thinking, that was actually a really good level. Now I do not like this part with the tornadoes because it takes forever, but it picks up during the underground section with the fire flower, and the tower climb at the end is some of the best platforming in the whole game. Rolling in the Clouds. Here's where the star ball is introduced to the player, and oh my gosh, it's Billboard! Everyone give it up for Billboard! The ball is controlled with motion controls, and while the feedback isn't as obvious as it would be with the control stick, it's actually pretty fitting considering what you're doing. Just like Surfing 101, the layout is basic and short. However, I'm less bummed out about it since not only does the ball get more usage later in this game, but in Galaxy 2 as well. The Bell on the Big Tree. Such a simple yet entertaining secret star. It's decently well hidden since you're taught touching anything liquid as Bee Mario is bad. So for the star to be right next to a bee mushroom and in a location that requires you to lose it is really clever. Hop in and the bubble controls make its return. Above it there's a bell that Mario himself can ring, but you can also use the cursor, which I always thought was real cute. Doing so brings up music notes that collecting plays the underwater theme from the original Super Mario Bros. Mega Legs Moon. No! now. I don't care if it's easy. This boss fight is so cool. From the mission overview, you see this massive robot bigger than the planet he's standing on, and just know you gotta fight him. But first you start out on this planet where you learn about the lead the bull bill to free the launch star thing. For as many times as this game likes to use this concept, it makes the most sense being here. To begin attacking him, you gotta climb up the legs, then turn his bullet bills against him. And behold, the first boss in Mario history to have a backup plan. The design, the music, the sheer scale of it all culminates in one of the most memorable end of first world bosses in any game. Bullet bill on your back. Another decently hidden secret star. This continues the rising and lowering tower mechanic from earlier, except now mixed with the free the power star with the bullet bill thing. I think it's a little longer than it had to be, since you gotta play 80% of the original star before you can access the secret. But to me, this is the best level of Dusty Dune, so it could have been worse. Dino Piranha speedrun. I do appreciate these rocks being changed to chain chomps to make it seem more scary, but in terms of music and overall vibes, I vastly prefer Dino Piranha. Ah, yes, a classic. Right away, you start on this real memorable planet with the cozy house and garden on top, and the abandoned, gloomy area with the tower on the bottom. There's just so much here for the first normal power star of the game. Gravity shenanigans, star chips, vine swinging. Both brand new and returning bad guys show up. There's even an alternate path you can take if you go down this here pipe. And then the first boss of the game, Dino Piranha himself. Don't get me wrong, he is kind of a pushover, but he is just conceptually such a fun boss fight.
Uh-oh, all of his petals fell off. He's now no longer fabulous at all.
A very spooky sprint. Why does a ghost need a helmet? You race this boo through a haunted obstacle course by using pole stars. The skulls and bones used is so cliche. Even as a kid, I found it more funny than spooky. If you lose the race, Mario doesn't get attacked or anything. He just dies from raw gamer rage. The Electric Labyrinth. This might be the most overhated level in Mario history. Even on my most recent playthrough on the Wii, I've never had issues with the bubble controls. For the first half, I find being able to find the star chips in any order to be quite fun. You can lose a decent chunk of progress if you die, but come on, these are the trial galaxies. They're meant to be a little tough. Then for the second half, you gotta zoom past the bullet bills that'll quite literally try to burst your bubble. Bubble blast haters, be gone from my sight. Watch your step. This is how you do an auto-scroller. If you're gonna do one, something that helps is making it look visually interesting. I'm super into both the green and pitch black backgrounds used here, alongside the terrain, which seems to be some sort of abandoned temple. Unlike Matter Splatter Mansion, I do think originally there was more to what's being shown. I think about what this place used to look like and how it ended up like this. I find the spring mushroom not being able to stop jumping makes this vertical section more entertaining. Cause Mario is always moving, it's more difficult to correctly align yourself for the big jump when the terrain above gets revealed. My only real issue is that the auto-scrolling at the end is a little too slow for one of the last galaxies you unlock. Cataquack to the skies. My pet Cataquack chucks me into the air whenever I want. Whee! The dialogue in this game is so good, man. Unlike Sunshine, where they're a complete nuisance, here the Cataquacks are used to help give you the airtime required to proceed. Later, you'll have to lead them through a maze and take out enemies to give them a path to follow you. In the end, both Luigi and the Cataquacks get what they want, racing the spooky speedster. Guys, get this. It's not Billboard, it's Jillboard. That's so funny! Okay, it's not that funny. It's yet another race to the star, except here, you're trying to be the first to the bottom. But Boo Mario floats like a balloon, making his descent much slower and bumping into anything more bumpier. The ability to go invisible allows the taking of some shortcuts, and activating fans provides a breeze that'll push you down even faster. This here is probably the most usage Boo Mario gets out of the 3 levels it shows up in. Ouch. Sinking the airships. This is the star that does the airships justice. To start, there's a ton of them this time instead of a measly 4. No, genuinely, why is the airship level in Space Junk that short? The wide enemy variety really makes you feel you're infiltrating this huge part of Bowser's army. Then you gotta fight Bowser Jr. himself on his own airship. One of my favorite things to do here is shoot him with star bits. It's so mean, I feel like I'm bullying the little guy. It's surprisingly one of the tougher bosses. He takes more than 3 hits, and there is just so much happening on the screen. Boo in a box. This one opened my eyes as to how really tucked away the secret stars can be in this game. You end up in this box, where you gotta reach this gravity switch multiple times to get the Boo holding the star to run to the light, all while avoiding this moron you can't get rid of. Kinda reminds me of Josh. So from here on out, this guy's name is Josh. a snack of cosmic proportions. At one point, you'll need 100 star bits to proceed through the level. You can find them all over Good at Galaxy or thoroughly search the starting areas. This, combined with the Hungry Luma not being missable, offers a lot of flexibility on how you approach this star. Kinda wish there were more like this. Beachcombing for purple coins. I just love Beach Bowl Galaxy, and also love having a reason to spend more time at it, especially since the second star takes 15 seconds and most of the others don't even take place on the main planet. This time it even utilizes the swings that were otherwise there just for fun. Also, the spring mushroom shows up, which I think is quite funny. Not complaining or anything, it's just kinda random. The Golden Chomp. What a clever secret star. There is a single gold chain chomp in the whole game, and upon seeing him, the player can guess there's something up with this guy. When you fly through the start of the level, collect all the question coins, and are rewarded with an invincibility star, you just know. You gotta bust open that chomp. And it is possible to mess up if you're not careful, but thankfully restarting it doesn't take that long. A very sticky situation. I'm sorry. This is the ultimate example of a fake hard level. Is it challenging? Yeah. But my word, the way people talk about this is like if it's this game's Champions Road. And I mean, if you die, you do have to restart the entire level, except no, there's a halfway checkpoint. I really don't get what all the fuss is about. As the Galaxy name would suggest, this place utilizes the sling pods to its fullest, requiring both solid aim and timing for not only the power star, but the starbit jackpot as well. Purple coins in the woods. Platform heavy purple comet under a time limit with a bunch of platforming, both horizontal and vertical. The bees help out by telling you how many coins you should have at that point, and it's always nice to hear the purple comet theme in full. The silver stars of Sea Slide. You'd think I'd dislike this more considering how much I tore into the purple comet from here, but I actually really like this star? It turns out finding 5 collectibles spread around is a lot more manageable than 100! Who would have thought? All the characters around Sea Slide will help narrow down the locations of where they're located, even this creepy shark dude. Also, I went to say hello to the old penguin and ended up getting jumped by a bunch of crabs! I mean, look at this! Maybe Sea Slide is the worst galaxy after all. The Fiery Stronghold. The very first obstacle you find are these fire bars, which are a nice callback to the Bowser levels of ye olden days. This level is actually really short. It only takes me just over a minute to get to Bowser, and I'm no speedrunner. Running up the staircase is such a cinematic set piece, and then the battle begins. Unsurprisingly, this is the weakest of the Bowser fights. I don't think anyone would argue against that. His attacks are simple. This is basically a warm-up for defeating him in the next 2 showdowns, but having him crush the glass and burn himself from his own creation, and the music adding to the choir when you get the advantage never gets old. Even if nothing here is too difficult, it's still quite fun. Fast foes of Toy Time. The quicker bad guys make this a more engaging version of the flip switch chain. It even cuts the fluff from that star with the Train Planet and Hungry Luma. Don't know what else to say other than don't get squished. Dreadnought's Colossal Cannons. I find the idea that one of the Dreadnought's defenses are baby chain chomps that roll out of these doghouses so amusing. The part where you're riding the platforms and avoiding stuff is a total upgrade over the one in Battle Rock, though I suppose that's to be expected considering Dreadnought is meant to be a beefed up version of that galaxy. Star Bunny's on the hunt. Lots of disdain is shown towards Gold Leaf for being a recycled honey hive, but you don't really do the same things there. The star chips are spread out enough for the exploration to sort of invoke that feel from Mario 64 levels, and then it ends off with an okay bunny chase.
Why are you running? I thought we're on the same team!
Top Maniac and the Top Man Tribe. Despite how mean I was to Top Man related stars before, there's no denying this is a really good one. You got a new enemy, this neat 2D section, random explosions for no reason, and then the first tussle with Top Maniac. And look, I don't mind this guy the first or even second time. I just personally think it starts to get old during the 4th battle with him. You know, now that I look at it that way, I'm kinda glad they made him so quick to put down. Gizmos, Gears, and Gadgets. Now this is what I'm talking about. Really ramping up the difficulty while on the Starball. Billboard makes his glorious return, and once again I'm really into the bright solid colors and checkerboard patterns all over. Makes me feel all nostalgic for some reason. Also, this is so random, but every time I get to this specific section I think, this would just not work if this was Mario Sunshine. Rocky Road. A galaxy all themed around food stuff? Tja. Of course you'd like this. One of the most iconic stars from Galaxy 1, thanks to its visuals, music, plus it being the first noticeable difficulty bump of the game. The moving platforms and hazards make this the perfect place to break out the long jump. When you do that, it's super easy to clear this one in just 1 minute. Overall, I define the stars being short and sweet. Anyways, Battle Rock's Garbage Dump. A lot of the Hungry Luma planets will totally change the mechanics of the levels you find them in, but this one fits well with breaking into the battle rock being all about bombs. You gotta blow up a dome holding a rainbow star to wreck all the chain chomps to have enough star bits to feed the Hungry Luma. Then we actually get to the secret planet where it's the garbage blowing up minigame, and holy moly, why is this so hard? It feels like you have just enough time to throw the bombs near perfectly, or else it's a wrap. I swear, I'm going crazy for thinking this is the harder of the two. I always nail Dreadnought's first time, but need at least a couple tries for this one. But other than me being mad cause bad, I like this star quite a bit. Beware of Bouldergeist. What a great level. The highlight are the Bomboos, who I'm really bummed out haven't shown up in more stuff outside of Galaxy. You'll swing them around by their tongue to blow things up, which gets put to the test against Bouldergeist. I'll go more into the gameplay of this boss in a bit, but for now I gotta mention the design of this guy. He tries to be all scary, but underneath the rocks, he's so adorable. Sun-Baked Sandcastle. I'm admittedly not a fan of this part that's an auto-scroller in disguise, but thankfully it's followed up by what's probably my favorite starship collecting segment in the game. Wait, I already said that for a different Dusty Dune level. Well, I suppose that was my favorite for Pole Stars, and this is my favorite to build the launch star. After that, we see the return of the Whacking Coconuts to attack Pokey introducing Good Egg Galaxy, which makes sense, cause Dusty Dune features the return of this enemy since then. Then the finale, having to hurry to the top of this glass tower as it sinks into the sand, except everything is upside down. Easily one of the coolest set pieces of the game and the highlight of this galaxy. Purple coins in the bone pen. I think the timer on this one is perfect. You can let the pole stars grab you quickly, but need to account for previous momentum to avoid swinging straight into an obstacle. I always look forward to the challenge this one provides. Also, I'm just realizing how funny of a visual gag the meat bones are. Fast foes on the Cyclone Stone. An even tougher version of the secret undersea cavern. Still not as bad as the one in Galaxy 2! The Floating Fortress. It's such a given considering it's Mario Galaxy, but that music though. When it comes to the best song in the game argument, there's a reason I was on Team Boy Base for the longest time. Nowadays, as a mature adult, my pick for the best song in the game is a Wah Wah Wah. Listen, don't get mad at me just cause you can't appreciate true art. To even start climbing this huge tower, you need to destroy the weight keeping a part of it submerged underwater. Once you're on it, there's a ton of enemy types to be found here, including one exclusive to this level. And yeah, there's the planet that looks suspiciously like a Pokeball at the end. Such a shame this galaxy went so underutilized. I can appreciate at least they tried to give it a green star, but I didn't place that one so low for no reason, you know. The galaxy's greatest wave. This is where the ray surfing reaches its full potential. Probably cause it's the last time it ever shows up. The turns, the jumps, the loop-de-loop. I've always enjoyed the motion-controlled levels, and the course taking off the training wheels this time around makes for a star I always have a great time in. Except for the last turn at the very end. I always fall for this every time. Purple coins on the puzzle cube. Yet another purple comet star where I feel the timer is really solid. It's important to remember which sides you've already been to, especially since you need to backtrack to the one where you started while the timer keeps going. Terran Tox's Tangled Web. You get a couple minutes of Space Junk Galaxy's lovely music, until you take the launch star and then it gets all scary. Here's the introduction to the Sling Pod, where Toad has kindly volunteered to demonstrate how they work before Mario tries them himself. After sling podding from planet to planet, we end up at the boss and, oh no, everyone look out. It's your mom! Oh, ho, ho, ho. I like how this fight puts the sling pods to use in combat, and my favorite detail is that you can even use the nearby Toad to attack this guy. Bouncing Down Cake Lane. Nintendo was genuinely a complete idiot for this. A level all about food here of all places. I thought this was Toy Time Galaxy, not Lunchtime Galaxy. I mean, I was strictly told as a kid food and toys don't go together. So when Nintendo does it, they get praise and critical acclaim. But when I brought toys to the dinner table, I got a spanking and timeout. Anyways, the level is actually pretty good. The spring mushroom really gets its time to shine here, including the singular time its auto wall jump is used in a way that doesn't kill you. The only whatever thing about this star is the boss fight can be a little annoying at times. Red Hot Purple Coins. The main planet of Melty Molten is such a good environment for a Purple Comet mission. Big enough to let the player explore, but not too much to the point it gets tedious. Some of the coins are hidden in really clever spots, the Santa one being inside the volcano. It's paced really well too. This usually takes me only about 5 minutes compared to the 40 spent in sea slides. The bee mushroom. Come on, man. Through the meteor storm. Meteors have shown up every now and then, but this level is entirely built around them. Needing to light the torches with the little fire dude is awfully cute. And the final planet is the return of the Star Ball. Yep, if you haven't done the Trial Galaxies, this is the only other appearance of this mechanic since the first world of the game. Saving it for the end of this already difficult level was such a hilarious move on Nintendo's part. The only aspect of this star that's kinda weak is the lead the bullet bill to free the launch star thing. Okay, seriously, why does the game love this mechanic this much? The Frozen Peak of Baron Burr. The ice flower is introduced, which lets you freeze liquids on contact, but it's on a timer, so you need to be quick about it in order to progress the level. There's something about platforming of this power-up in particular that's just so satisfying. The enemies here, as well as their fiery counterparts, are some of the most simple yet entertaining enemies in the game, and the boss at the end is a beefed up version of them, who you can totally own with some wicked jumps. Also, I'm a huge fan of this shortcut you can take around at the beginning, but sometimes I don't want to take it since it means less ice flower usage. When players are actively trying to spend more time in it, that's how you know the level design is good. The fate of the universe. It sounds so cool when I say it like that. Kicking off immediately with a brand new obstacle, these spotlights that have their own gravity. Then you got fire hazards, ice physics, quicksand, sinking platforms, even those weird blocks that only show up once you get close. There's even an exclusive enemy, bonsai bills. Yeah, they only show up in this level. Then the final Bowser battle begins, and he turns himself into a rock? I guess this was meant to replicate those boulders with the red weak spots. Then on the next, you need to use these stretchy plants to knock him over, which, don't get me wrong, is satisfying. Both of these just feel really random to utilize for the final boss of the game. But man, oh man, when the final battle music starts playing, you see the planet you end up on, and just know what you need to do to end this, once and for all. Well, until you gotta do it again after getting 120 stars. I do wish this phase took 3 hits to wrap up instead of 2. Like, come on, of all places, don't skimp out on the difficulty here. But even accounting for all my complaints, this is still a phenomenal final level. One of the Mario series' absolute finest. Kingfin's Fearsome Waters. So remember how I said this guy creeped me out as a kid? Well, that was nothing compared to meeting my sleep paralysis demon at the age of 11. That first shot alone automatically shoots Kingfin as one of the most memorable Mario bosses ever, and the fight itself is amazing too. It takes place entirely underwater with no land to rest on. Luckily, there's shells nearby which helps Mario out, and this guy takes 5 of them to put down instead of the usual 3 hits. As the fight progresses, he'll summon these shark torpedo guys that home in on you with this really unnerving sound effect. On top of all that, you need to watch your air meter from running out, and as the fight progresses, he'll smash through terrain, revealing power-ups and expanding the space you can move around. As a kid, I never mustered up the courage to beat him, but nowadays, I have nothing but respect for this incredible battle. Just a reminder, one of these bosses came back in Galaxy 2 and the other is Kingfin. Fiery Dino Piranha. I don't know why I love how Melty Molten looks so much, cause the theming of this place is pretty much basic lava. I guess it's really just the lighting and colors they used. Another fantastic star in this galaxy where the highlight is undoubtedly the ending. Dino Piranha being the boss of the first main galaxy and his spicy cousin being the boss of the last feels so right. It's also the boss I have the most trouble with. I always hit the tail right when it catches fire. Wall jumping up waterfalls. Awesome secret star both in its hiding spot and gameplay wise. It's tucked away quite well, and as a reward you get to see both Cataquax and the ice flower early. You freeze the waterfalls to jump up them, as the level name implies. And I'll say it once again, anything platforming with this power-up is inconceivably satisfying. The Cataquack from earlier wasn't there just cuz. At the end you gotta create a path with the ice flower for one of them so he can fling you up to the star. Or you could ignore them entirely and just Luigi it up like I do. Battle Station's purple coins. There's only 100 total and you can't miss a single one. The auto-scrolling, obstacles, and gravity shenanigans makes this one super tough. This is not a fake hard level. It actually deserves the reputation it has. But the way I see it, the high difficulty combined with the purple comet music makes overcoming this one of the hypest moments in the entire game. There's even unique dialogue if you go out of your way to miss all the coins. That's hilarious. Luigi's purple coins. Another star that is challenging, but not nearly deserving of the reputation it gets. I swear this is getting mixed up with the Galaxy 2 version of the star, which I will confirm is actually crazy hard. Just like in Mario Meets Mario, wherever you walk will cause the floor to become unstable or disappear entirely, and this ends up being a significantly bigger problem when you have to collect 100 things instead of just 5, and you really have to keep in mind the route you're going to take in order to get back to the star. But I will say, pulling risky long jumps and spins for huge chunks of coins is pretty swag. Bubble Blast Off. Never realized how incredible of a star this one was until now. I mean, right away, the boss is at the very beginning of the level instead of the end. This time around, there's multiple ways to beat him. You can ground pound or whack coconuts, and I like to be extra petty and finish him off with the shell in the nearby water. Then you get 3 power-ups back to back to back. You launch into a rainbow star, then fly back with the fire flower, which is how you get the ice flower needed to progress the level. You climb up the area with bubbles, and this one sends you way into the distance, where the star ends on this glass planet where you ground pound tennis balls into a watermelon to make it grow. Honestly man, at this point, why not? This level not only has a bunch to see and do, but it really plays into Deep Dark's theme of being overall bizarre and off-putting. Heavy Metal Mecha Bowser. I didn't mention it before because the other stars here kinda steer away from the primary aesthetic, but I adore the look of Toy Time Galaxy. All the machinery, blocks, the background resembling a child's playroom, and colors! Here's where the spring mushroom shows up, and as a kid I absolutely loved this thing. It was fascinating going on the internet years later and learning everyone claimed this thing poisoned their crops and punched their cat. Eventually Mario ends up at Mecha Bowser, and I think he's a boss fight? Either way, he's gotta go. To do just that, you'll need to dismantle him piece by piece using the spring mushroom to deliver the final blow, which is oh so satisfying. Polestar Path and Polestar Path Speedrun. Here I gotta talk about the next 2 stars in the opposite order. Due to the opening of the game freaking me out, I couldn't fully appreciate Gateway Galaxy since I was still a little on edge. So drifting through Space Junk Galaxy and listening to its music was the first time I thought, wow, maybe video games are more than just fun and excitement. They could be quiet and somber and make us feel things. That is, until said music was interrupted by disaster. I love how the Toads suddenly arrive with that dinky music to remind you that, while more serious, this is still a Mario game at heart. The last challenge consists of 2 new mechanics, the silver stars and platforms that build themselves only when Mario gets close. Pretty good star, right? The Prankster Comet, on the other hand, completely flips the feel of this level on its head. You don't get to take your time and absorb the atmosphere, you're on a timer now. I get it! Go, go, go! The music change is the most prominent here, from Space Junk's piano to the stressful Speedy Comet theme. It is also more difficult, as if you die, you restart from the beginning, which makes the ending with an instant death black hole beneath you a little more daunting. I do think the normal Polestar Path is a better experience, but both of these are amazing stars that complement each other wonderfully. Freeze Flame's Blistering Core. As the name would suggest, the theme of this galaxy switches from freezing cold to scorching hot. Likewise, how the first level was focused on the ice flower, here is all about the fire flower, where you'll have to light torches by shooting at the correct angle and timing. It's trickier than it looks, especially if you forget your spin jump exists for some reason. You'd have to be a complete moron to do that though. Breaking into the Battle Rock. Bombs, bombs, and more bombs. That's what this star is all about. I said it earlier, but I very much appreciate even the hidden star here continuing this theme. After initially teaching the player these cages can be blown up, the level gradually increases the difficulty to keep doing that. Then it'll also introduce these cannons that you need to use to free the Luma from this crystal. With good aim, you can shatter open with one shot, and after the random explosion for no reason, the game uses both of these once more to see if you're worthy of that power star. Bunnies in the Wind. Riding the floaty fluff? Yeah, that's the actual name. Across the wind, going through the branching paths with the vines, and listening to Gusty Garden's awesome music makes for one truly magical star. I wish I could place this higher, but the bunny chase at the end is nothing special. Not terrible, but kinda anticlimactic compared to what was happening before it. Purple coins on the summit. I need to preface this by saying I completely understand why people would dislike this level, but as time has passed, this has become my favorite purple coin mission in the game. I always thought this mountain had this majestic, serene vibe to it, and wish I could spend more time on it. So, finding out there's a star that requires you to explore every inch of it, I won't lie, I thought was pretty swag. Climbing to the highest point once again is exhilarating, not to mention it has a memorable ending with Captain Toad giving you a surprisingly serious speech. And then you gotta finish it off with a long jump leap of faith off the summit. Wait, how did he get up here? I thought you couldn't jump! The one and only reason this one isn't even higher is because if you do die, it sucks. Really bad. Trust me, I've been there.
Look at this! Look at that! I had 100 coins! Wow!
King Caliente's Battle Fleet. I am shocked a star from Good Day Galaxy made it this high. You start out by taking the intended path to the top of the house to use a launch star, to then end up on a tropical planet that teaches you to spin coconuts to send them flying. And the next shows you can also do that to attack bad guys. Then you board the airships, and whatever those things are attacking you with flaming coconuts, but also normal ones, which hitting these shows the player they'll home in on the sender when flung back. And then the level is wrapped up with King Caliente, whose battle basically consists of playing lethal coconut volleyball. What is this game's obsession with coconuts? Great music, variety of planets, satisfying mechanic, and awesome boss fight. I guess it isn't that surprising this made it this high after all. Bouldergeist's Daredevil Run. So earlier I said I thought the Daredevil bosses were worse because they were missing the rest of their levels. But on the complete opposite side, I think Bouldergeist is such a fantastic boss, he's even better when you skip straight to him. I honestly feel it's one of the best displays of Nintendo's game design. This fight's difficulties where anyone can beat it, but experienced players can get through it faster with their raw gamer skill. With good aim, you can spawn the bomb boos early, and once swinging them, you can avoid hitting the hands to expose Bouldergeist's weak point a lot quicker. Having only one health point makes the battle even more exhilarating, and I've actually died to this guy a couple times. All around fantastic stuff. The Sinking Lava Spire. Every single moment of this star is engaging. Whether it's the main planet, the pole stars, the starship collecting, it has not one but two of the most cinematic shots of the game. And the Sinking Lava Spire itself is one of the most, dare I say it, epic set pieces in this whole series. There is not 1 second I am not actively enjoying this level. How could this star get any better? Lava Spire Daredevil Run. All Daredevil comments up to this point were reserved for boss fights. Then the overview for this one whacks you in the face with an entire level. No checkpoints either. If you get hit once, it's a wrap, no matter how far you got. The tension this creates alongside the stressful music, the daunting visuals, and the already existing challenge of the level design. Galaxy does this thing where all of their sound effects go quiet when the power star appears, and after everything I've mentioned, it is without question the most impactful right here. 5 of Melty Molten's 6 stars made it to the top 25. I guess you could say this galaxy is heat. Anyways, the dirty tricks of Major Burrows. I like the introduction of these mole dudes in Gusty Garden, cause, you know, moles dig up gardens. It's what they do. Popping them out of the ground is really satisfying. Then a bunch show up on this planet, and it's a little difficult to chase them down. There's the optional planet you can land on by pole-starring your way out of the launch star's trajectory, which I believe is one of the only times you can do this. And who could forget one of the most memorable parts of the game? The giant apples, where you gotta use the worm eating them as a bridge. I always liked how happy he looked after finishing his snack. And then to wrap it all up is the fight against Major Burrows. I commend Nintendo for the consistency of the moles having anger issues. All that with the fact this takes place in Gusty Garden, so you get the fluff flying and the fantastic music. This star is without a doubt one of Galaxy's finest. Conquering the Summit. My pick for the best secret star of the game. Looking closely, you'll notice there's more to these water spouts than just a simple one-up. Using it to find the secret that suddenly switches gears to the fire flower is so neat, and once again plays into Freeze Flame's overarching theme. Climbing the mountain is tough yet fair, and the accomplishment you feel once finally reaching the top, ooh, it's so rewarding. And while I also love the climb during the Purple Comet, grabbing the star itself at the very peak is a lot more impactful. Great power-up usage, great platforming, great difficulty. This star has it all. Hot and cold collide. 5 of the 6 stars in Freeze Flame made it to the top 25 of this list, and 2 of them made it to the top 5. Yeah, it's very apparent why this is one of, if not the most beloved galaxy in this game. In my dumb baby opinion, this, as well as the next star, are the epitome of what Super Mario Galaxy is all about. From the moment you begin this level, the planet you start out on looks sick. The next is this one, where it starts out snowy with ice-cold water. To light these torches, you'll need to walk, preferably long jump, to the other side of the planet, where it's suddenly scorching hot. This is where you find the fire flower, and you need to run, preferably long jump back to light the torches before it runs out. And I just love how these two sides of the planet parallel each other. You have the rising and lowering hazard alongside the spiky enemies, which you need to avoid to unscrew this faucet to proceed. And in the final part, you gotta use the ice flower to skate across both ice and lava, sometimes upside down. Like, holy moly, dude, we are reaching inconceivable levels of swag here. This level is a masterpiece. I was so close to putting putting it at the top of the ranking even. At the very least, I'd still say it's interchangeable. However, at number 1, we have Pom Pom from Mario 3D Land. Oh, that's not right. Darkness on the Horizon. There is so much this level does well. First off, this is Galaxy's major callback to Mario 64, with not only the overall look here paying homage to that game's Bowser levels, but the music is a pretty faithful rearrangement as well. Dark matter only shows up here and it is such a memorable hazard. Never said had to be a good memory. Then you have these shapes that automatically move along a set path, and you gotta quickly make sure you're in the right position so when the gravity changes, you'll stay on it instead of falling into dark matter. Plus, if you hate auto-scrollers, you can do this! All of this topped off with one of the most cinematic showdowns with Bowser ever. I honestly prefer this over the final battle. Similar to the other Bowser fights, it's one of the few bosses that not only takes place on but utilizes the spherical planets, which is Galaxy's defining feature. But the music doesn't just piggyback off 64 nostalgia, as it now switches to Galaxy's orchestra with Bowser's most intimidating theme to date. Like, I know everyone has talked about this, but like, I just can't fully comprehend this being the soundtrack for a Mario game. But the one thing that makes this entire level go up for me is this. This blew my mind. I already thought Bowser having his own bad guy version of your spin attack was swag enough, and previously thought this was just another attack you had to avoid, but being able to negate it with your own is genuinely the sickest thing in Mario history. The sound effect. Oh my goodness, golly gracious. And it doesn't just look cool, this causes him to use his jump attack early, which is what makes him vulnerable. Just like Boulder Guys, this fight isn't gonna have you suck for hours, but with both player knowledge and skill, you're able to speed it up if you're more experienced. This entire star combines aspects of Mario, both old and new. The level design, music, and atmosphere takes inspiration from 64, but Galaxy's strong points are incorporated as well, especially once Bowser shows up. Out of the 121 stars in this game, this one is my favorite. I'm gonna play that sound effect one last time. So good. And that's my list. Once again, ranking this many levels isn't as easy as it sounds, so if you disagree, feel free to let me know. Did I do Bubble Blast off dirty? I'm very open to feedback and having a friendly discussion.
Hello? Is anyone home?
What, moron?
I was wondering, could you put Sea Slide purple coins higher?
What?
I like it because you go to the beach and you can fly with B Mario.
Hey Beef Boss, do me a favor and kill that guy.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god! Whoa!
I am open to discussion, but there are some things we simply do not speak of.